How do I even start this video? Okay, buy this now, go outside, go to your local store, and buy Skyrim for the PSVR. Even if you don't have a PSVR, buy this, and then you can wait until Christmas to get a PSVR. If you had told me a couple of years ago that I'd be able to explore the grand world of Skyrim in virtual reality, I would have laughed in your face. Shut up, you silly. But over the last couple of days, I've been doing just that, and that is absolutely crazy. Now, as a kid, I grew up watching Star Trek The Next Generation. This was the adventures of Captain Jean-Luc Picard and Data and his cat called Spot. But one of the most amazing things in that show was the holodeck. This was an incredible piece of technology that allowed you to create an entire world where you could explore and people would interact with you. The HTC Vive allows you to have an entire room's worth where you can actually walk around and interact with items. Now, okay, the PSVR can't do that, but it's pretty close. I'm going to be honest, the first day that I had this game, I was very, very ill. Now, this is my first experience in virtual reality, and I highly recommend to people right now that if you have only just got yourself a PSVR, don't play this first. I know it's very, very tempting, but believe me, start with something a bit slower because good God, you feel bad. And I think that's one of the most common questions I have been asked after I put out on Twitter that I got this. Will I be able to play this without feeling sick or have motion sickness? And yes, you will. But if you take breaks and play it over time, you will get used to it. And I have got to the point now where I can actually sprint in the game and not feel anything. And I am so happy about that because this is the most crazy experience, the most immersive experience I have ever experienced. You are there. You are in Skyrim. You are the Dragonborn. Well, actually, I'm the prisoner because I accidentally skipped naming my character by accident, so my character's called The Prisoner. Also, it's a very good 60s TV show if you've never seen it. They also did a remake a couple of years ago, but I don't recommend that one. It was about a man who got chased by giant bulls. Believe me, give it a watch. It's not as bad as I made it sound. So I'm getting this footage from this social screen, as they call it, and basically the VR outputs the screen to your eyes, but it also puts it out on your TV for people who are in the room watching. And that's where this footage has come from. Now, annoyingly, it's almost 4:3, so I've had to zoom in a little bit to make it look nice. But believe me, you are not getting the full experience. It's going to look flat. It's just going to look like normal Skyrim. But every tree you see is massive. Every mountain in the distance is huge, and you can go anywhere. Now, there are multiple ways of traveling through this world, but I personally would recommend, if you can handle it, full locomotion. Now, that means that you can point in a direction and just walk there. There is also teleportation, but personally I found that I was taken out of the experience every time I did it. I wasn't feeling immersed. And I'm going to say right now that when you take off your VR headset, you won't be where you started because you will be walking around your entire room. You're going to be in someone else's house. It's amazing. Probably get arrested. It's fine. So I think the best way of selling this to you is to tell you one of my experiences. So I was making my way up to Bleak Barrow. Now, this is a place where you get hold of the Golden Claw and also some form of stone tablet which you need for the main quest, so I highly recommend going here first. And on the way up there, there is a camp of bandits. So the first one I see, I end up taking out with a bow and arrow. And by the way, the bow and arrow is realistic. You actually have to pull back. You have to put the arrow onto the bow and pull back realistically, and you have to close one eye to get the perfect shot. And it makes you feel like a badass. Possibly the most amazing experiences in this game are the archery and the magic system, because you actually use both hands when you're firing off sparks or flames or whatever magic you have, and that feels incredible. It makes you feel like Emperor Palpatine, ultimate power, and I absolutely adore it. So of course one of the bandits noticed that I killed one of his friends, and he gets his bow and arrow out and he's hailing these arrows at me at 100 miles an hour, and I'm like, oh god, what am I going to do? So I have arrows whizzing past my head. I can hear them flying past me. I end up getting one in the nose, and I can actually see it stuck right up my nostril, and that is a pretty scary experience. So the first thing I do is grab my shield. Now, by holding my shield up in the air, I am able to block arrows, but possibly the coolest thing is the fact that the arrows get stuck in your shield. You can actually use your other hand and grab the arrows off of your shield to use with your own bow and arrow, and that is amazing. So there I am with my shield up in the air, and I'm slowly moving towards this enemy while at the same time holding my other hand underneath my shield with sparks. And good God, that is an amazing experience. This makes you feel like you are the character doing all of these badass things. So I don't only want to give positives here, I also want to give negatives, because I do have a few. Now, tracking isn't always perfect, and you end up walking into things and your bow and arrow sometimes kind of flick all over the place and you need to wobble your wand a bit to get it working again. So in terms of movement, it's a little bit odd. If you're using full locomotion, you hold down the move button on your left move controller. You turn left and right by pressing, I think, X and circle on the right move controller, and that spins your body around. You can set up how you want this to work so you don't feel sick. And you can also tilt left and right while you're holding the move button down to kind of sidestep left and right. But the one that I don't really like is moving backwards. Now, if you want to move backwards, you have to pull back, almost like a joystick, on the left move controller, and it feels very weird. It doesn't feel right, and it's a bit iffy. Now, that experience isn't great. Also, menu navigation, good God, it is awful. I highly recommend setting up a favorites list because you are going to need it. You do not want to be going through all of the menus here because the move controllers kind of work on, you hold down the right hand trigger and you kind of like side swipe to move left and right through the menus. And that does not feel very good, especially when it doesn't do what you want it to do. And I found a lot of the times it would back out of menus and I'd end up back in the full game and I'd be like, no, but I wanted to be in this menu. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. Now, how they could have got around this is by using your head movement and head tracking, and you could actually look at the option you want. Now, that I think would have worked a little bit better. Also, in terms of graphics, I would have said that this is on the PS3 or Xbox 360 level. It doesn't look as good as the special edition, and you are definitely going to notice some blurring. You are going to notice a little bit of pixelation. With PSVR, I would say that you are going to notice the circle around your eye, almost I think it's called the barn door effect. You've got that kind of, you can see that you're looking almost through goggles. You do kind of get used to it and that kind of disappears over time because your eyes are kind of adjusting. But that's what I will say at first. I wouldn't expect this to look like you're looking at a 4K television. It doesn't look as good as that. But this does come with all of the DLC, so you are completely set for DLC. The only other thing that I have a slight issue with is there's no mods. And personally, with Bethesda games, they kind of need mods to fix all of the issues that Bethesda left in, but unfortunately you don't have any access to mods in this, which is a real shame because I absolutely adore mods for these games. So yeah, you can't put infinite carry weight on, and believe me, if you get over encumbered, walking to point is the most slow and tedious thing in the entire world. So personally, I'm going to recommend this. This is my first AAA VR experience. This is the first experience. I had a Gear VR before this, and this is so much better than that. Gear VR is great, but this is a whole step ahead. If you love Skyrim, if you are a major fan of Skyrim, you need to play this. And it doesn't matter where you play it, if you play it at a friend's house, if you play it at a demo kiosk, it doesn't matter. You need to play this because it is incredible. Right now, you can get a PSVR for about £230 in the UK. I got mine for, I think, 170, and that was heavily discounted. And it came with quite a few different games and extras and move controllers, and I got a really good deal. But unfortunately, of course, that was Black Friday. I don't think you're going to be able to get it as cheap as I did, but you can have a look around. Game right now, I think, has a pretty good deal on a big bundle, which also includes Skyrim. Now, personally, I would recommend getting the move controllers. You kind of need them. They really do immerse you in the world. Playing with a DualShock 4 just doesn't feel very good when you're kind of fighting things. It's not as immersive because you don't have that full control over your magic and your bows, and it just doesn't feel as good. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Yes, this is my first VR content ever. I also have Job Simulator, so I may be doing a video on that soon. So if you want to see that, leave a like down below and tell me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, but until next time, that's me out. Bye, guys.